Right.
I heard that go. We're on. Len, we're in your garage, and you do a lot of work with this Oillift, Flubber dust, and I'd really like you to explain what do you do? We have a polished concrete floor, and that was spilled when?
Wednesday.
Well, about
I was in Montreal on Wednesday. I got back, and one of my employees has left me a nice big puddle on the floor.
Okay.
So what do you think?
So what would you go after with? So this isn't like a major spill, and it's fairly fresh, but you've kept this whole place spotless clean constantly with Oillift and Flubber dust, right?
Oh yes, absolutely. That stuff works great.
Okay, now show me.
Show you? Well, it's
yeah.
a pretty simple process. I start out with a mix. This is probably about a 50-50 mix.
Okay.
Okay, so it's pretty concentrated.
Right.
Yeah, 1-to-1. When I'm getting into stuff where I've got to clean up a lot of oil, and you might, the further it's sunk in, the heavier a mix you're probably going to use. At least that's what I'm finding.
Okay. And in fact, with this polished thing, if you just spilled that, you could probably just use the Flubber dust without the oil.
Oh, absolutely. You know, like if we get it right away,
okay.
Then that seems to be.
But we see on the edges it has really soaked in there, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you just squirt it down like that. Even though there's some you haven't got. Do you got to brush this in, or what do you do?
Well, generally, I just put this on the top and then scrub it around.
Okay, so you got the Flubber dust over there.
Yeah, and I just scoop that on top. Let it soak in a bit.
Okay, while you're doing that, I'll put this in over here.
Would you please? Geez, I could hire you. You could do this for me.
Well,
all the
I
time.
think I'm using more of this than you do, as I watched you doing that. I have a tendency to, I think like most consumers, let's flood this thing. But it doesn't, well, we just have to be wet, right?
You know, I find that more isn't always better.
Huh? Okay.
You know, and realistically, you know,
which is
you
good
are
for the
using
pocketbook.
Oh, it's only that's also good for the environment. You know,
Yes.
the less stuff you use of everything, the better life gets. You know, and
Okay, so now the Flubber dust is going to absorb
it's absorbing everything right now.
both the oil and the oil.
This is the time when more is better.
Oh, with the Flubber dust.
Yeah, because you want to soak up all the liquid when you're using this. Is what I find.
And this you can reuse, so it's recyclable.
Exactly, and that's why I say more is better, because I'm going to use that fancy tool that I always use when I do this.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to show it to you. It's right here.
Okay.
I got two of them actually. One's right here, and the other one I have is over here.
Okay. Right.
But you just got to scrub it in a bit. You can see it. More is better, because then it's not going to stick to my shoes for sure.
Okay.
But realistically, you saw the mess that was there before.
Right.
Okay, just give it a minute.
We didn't let that sit very long.
You really don't have to let it sit very long.
Well, you'd sit longer if it was a more porous concrete, right?
Probably. Oh yeah, absolutely. This is polished concrete, and you know, Jan, I've been pretty lucky with what I've been doing here.
Now, of course, the important detail here is that if you use kitty litter to do this, yes, you can collect it all. But then what you got is a gooey mess,
Look at this.
You've got to do something with it.
Look at this. Go ahead. Now look at your fingers.
This is. I mean,
2 minutes ago, if you'd done that.
Wait a minute. There's no oil down there,
Nope.
and there's no oil in my hand either.
Exactly.
It's all in the.
It's gone into the mixture.
It's all in the
Look at
Flubber
this.
dust.
Look at this. There's a little there that hasn't finished yet.
So you're rubbing.
Look at that.
Oh,
Look at
you
that.
got a
Look at
spot
that.
there.
Yeah, you bet.
So that
It's
was
not quite done.
your special tool. Didn't.
But
screw it
still.
up. That's right. That's incredible.
I'm not wearing it.
We could be doing it with a brush if you wanted to.
If you want to use a brush.
Yeah, but you really. That looks like I got a wet spot up there.
Yeah, there's a little one. I wouldn't normally use my hand. I'd normally use a brush, but since we're down here.
I mean, there's no time lapse here. This is
No.
real time.
Nope,
Okay,
no
now
time lapse.
I've got a. Is this ready to come up?
Yeah, I'd say so. I'd say.
Let's pull this over.
What?
Hey, we're gonna work this together.
Yeah, and myself, I have a bucket here that I use.
Oh, no, so I can just go back on that one?
Yep. Yep.
And work that in.
Absolutely.
Because I had a little lump that.
Well, in general, you're gonna find, Jan, that it's gone.
Gone already.
That was an oil spill a few minutes ago.
And you know, the funniest thing I'm seeing here, and we're going to check this if you can get that on the camera. Can you see right up here on the camera? Is that how clean this is? And right next to it, we got an old oil residue from years ago that you haven't cleaned. It looks
I've never cleaned that one.
Okay, but there's the dividing line. We didn't even notice that was dirty.
I didn't at all.
And now we've got it so clean that we can see that.
Yeah, pretty amazing.
That is.
And like, and seriously, if you were to take right now and had a mop, for example, and a bucket, and you had just water in your mop, and you were to wash this floor, the water would bead on top of where the oil is,
Yeah.
and it would wet the floor down the
We wet the
surface.
floor here.
Yeah.
And then this ideally goes out in the sunshine.
Ideally, for myself, because the shop is on the north side.
Yeah.
Now, all that gets reused, by the way.
Okay,
You
so
are
that's
aware.
in there, and then it'll
Yeah.
be, but you need to spread it out, get it a little bit of heat, a little bit of sunlight.
Yeah, a little bit of heat, little sunlight, but in the case of me, like generally this is northern exposure,
Okay.
so I don't have I'd have to run out 20 feet
To get the sun.
and pour it out in my driveway where my vehicles come in and my equipment. So what I do is I'll throw it on my floor for a couple of days when I know there's nothing going on in here,
Okay.
and it will literally reconstitute. For example, that full bucket, which a couple days ago, one of my employees did an oil change and he dumped his oil from his Toyota diesel on
All
my
on the
floor.
floor.
All on my floor.
And it's all in the bucket now.
And it's all in the bucket.
But that'll eventually be reusable flubber dust.
Okay, I can take that right now, spread it out in about a 4x8 area, and just rake it. I just take a rake just to move it around so that it gets air exposed.
Right.
And in about 3 days, it's back to that.
And then Kevin would take a small one like this and put it in a plastic bag, leave the bag open, put it in a plastic bag, put that in the sun.
And do
The
the
UV
same
goes
thing.
through the plastic, the open bag lets everything evaporate off.
Yeah.
And you got flubber dust, and the
Yeah.
flubber dust goes on and on and on. The Oillift, you gotta buy some more of, but it's concentrate and
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
easy.
Well, that's my original container. It's still sitting there over at the side, and we just take a little bit out each time.
Wow.
And I've been using this for a couple of years now, and I tell you what, I'm thoroughly satisfied with what I've got here.
I'm impressed how clean that is.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you might have to do it more if it was a long soaked in, been there
Yeah.
for years.
Well, that's
situation.
4 days that's been soaking in.
4 days, okay.
4
But I
days.
mean, if it'd been there for years, you might have to work harder, but particularly if the cement was more porous.
Yeah,
And this
absolutely.
one, it's not so porous.
Absolutely. I treasure the fact that I have a friend that's a mad scientist that invented this stuff. It's great.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.